Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Sandra Freitas, and I will be facilitating this afternoon's webinar on reopening guidance for restaurants in response to COVID-19. Today's webinar is being recorded, and it will be posted on our website for public viewing. I'd like to invite at this very moment Blage, who will provide an update on the Fresco program.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, sorry. I'm great. Good afternoon, everybody. I think what I'd like to do is just give everybody kind of a brief heads up that the city is going to be relaxing some of the regulations that we have that govern outdoor sidewalk seating and also seating in business operations in private lots for the next, until the shelter-in-place orders are lifted and or December 31st of this coming year, kind of whichever comes first. So hopefully the shelter-in-place order is lifted first. But as many of you or some of you on this call might know, the mayor and council member Davis a few weeks ago directed staff to find ways to reduce costs or eliminate costs for businesses doing business in the city of San Jose under these COVID-19 related health restrictions. And so we have been working really hard to get to the place where we can align a streamlined and free of charge and free of charge program with the county order that takes effect tomorrow. We are still working on some behind the scenes technical details, but we will be distributing information via email, via social media, and also via the city's flash reports later today and tomorrow. But in essence, what will happen is that businesses that are food-related businesses and serve food, if they don't already have outdoor sidewalk seating set up, they will be able to set up outdoor sidewalk seating through a registration process, and we'll have to agree to some very basic terms and conditions around maintenance and accessibility. The city will also require, because it is on a public sidewalk, the city will also be requiring businesses to upload their insurance and asking for businesses to provide the city with an additional insured endorsement. For non-food related businesses, those businesses will be able to set out tables and chairs in front of their business for seating only. And then in private parking lots, the city will have a separate registration process set up where businesses can take out their business operations to the extent that they're allowed to by their kind of respective governing boards, by the county order. They'll be able to take their business operations, whether that's dining or business or other business operations, into a private parking lot that would be just in front of their business. There are also some terms and conditions that businesses will have to agree to abide by, and you will have to show the city that you have written consent from your property owner to utilize those spaces in the parking lot. And you'll be able to utilize up to 50% of the parking lot in question. So that's in a nutshell what is coming down the pike here pretty fast and furiously over the next day and a half or so. As I mentioned, we still have some back of house details, technological details that need to be worked out but we will be disseminating information through all of our partners, neighborhood business district partners, through our email, city email distribution, and certainly as folks have registered for this webinar, we can push out the information once it's ready to all the folks that are on this webinar. And with that, I will, I guess, open it up for questions if that's possible. I'm not exactly sure.
Hi, everyone. I'll intervene very quickly. We do have a Q&A session that will take place after presentation, so we highly encourage everyone to utilize the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen, and then we'll screen the information and address questions at that time. So moving forward, thank you very much, Wage. I would like to take this opportunity to thank our business owner space partners, U.S. Small Business Administration, Downtown Willow Glen Business District, Latino Business Council of Silicon Valley, Small Business Majority, LISC, Silicon Valley Black Chamber of Commerce, Silicon Valley Organization, Small Business Development Center, Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, Silicon Valley, Winchester Business Association, San Jose Public Library Works, SCORE, Silicon Valley, eBay, Start Small, Think Big, Nextdoor, Facebook, and Opportunity Fund. Today's agenda will cover a few housekeeping items. We'll introduce this afternoon's speaker and their presentation. We'll address the process for questions and answers, and conclude the session with resources, upcoming webinars, and instructions for completing a survey and offering your input. Questions will be addressed after the presentation. Participants will have an opportunity to scribe questions that pertain to today's presentation topic by accessing the Q&A functionality at the bottom of your screen. In the event you have a non-topic pertinent question, we ask you to submit your inquiry via our website or to the email listed on this page, COVID-19 sjbusiness@sanjoseca.gov. In the event you need to leave during the webinar, please email your question to this email. Vietnamese and Spanish reading staff are reading the emails, so feel free to ask questions in those languages if it is more comfortable for you. The speaker will address selected questions in English, and after which the answer will be repeated in the language it was asked. Thank you. Our guest speaker for this afternoon is Kevin McClelland, Small Business Consultant for the Small Business Development Center. Kevin, if you would please share your screen, we'd appreciate it. Thank you.
I will. Yeah, let me go ahead and get the presentation up. Hope everybody can see that. First off, I want to say welcome to everybody on the webinar today. Very thankful to be able to speak with you. My name is Kevin McClellan. I am with the Small Business Development Center and the Hispanic satellite for the Small Business Development Center here in Silicon Valley. And our mission is to be a free service to small businesses. We work closely with the SBA, and we're actually also additionally funded by the County of Santa Clara to support small businesses, and we help with the access to capital. So a lot of our work over the last few months have been helping a lot of small business owners to get through the process of the EIDL loans, the economic injury development disaster loans, in addition to the PPP, Payroll Protection Plan loans. And so that took up a lot of March and April, and even now the PPP loans are still available. I don't know if you have been keeping up on current events, but Congress just passed a law to extend the repayment of the PPP funds to, or the use of the PPP funds to the end of December, to try to give people more time to spend that money. I know a lot of you who have received them have already been frantically trying to get the qualification through to the end of this month. And I don't know exactly how that is going to affect you, or if it actually does, but I do know that that has gone through. I also know that there are still additional PPP funds available for businesses that haven't applied for them. And I would recommend that if you do need money and help with your payroll and your business, that you do go ahead and apply for those loans. And if you do need help, more than happy to help you at the Small Business Development Center. It may not be me. We've got a ton of advisors that are helping with that, but more than happy to help you get through that process. What I'm going to be talking about today is the reopening process. You know, we have been sheltering in place for a while now, and as of tomorrow, things are even going to be dramatically changing. And so a part of what I've been trying to do around the county is to go into the different communities and talk to people about how they reopen, and to try to provide resources and tools. One of the best things about you being on the webinar today is you already understand one of the best ones that you could. There are a lot of people that are out there that are trying to help small businesses and give them assistance for a price. Or just to as a form of advertising. If they are a accounting firm or a law firm or a payroll company, they're all trying to help these businesses reopen. It's important for me that you understand that there are first line resources that you need to be looking to first to get through the confusion. And as you know, the city of San Jose is going to be the first place that you need to be looking, because they're going to distill all of the stuff from the county and the state into their requirements. And as you heard Blage say, one of the best parts of her update was clarification around the outdoor seating, because what starts tomorrow is the ability for restaurants to do outdoor seating. But obviously, if you don't currently have it permitted, or if there are, or if you're trying to get it up and running, understanding what the current requirements are and how you can thread that needle to get your operation up and running as quickly as possible is super important. And that's why I feel that Blage's update is super relevant and super important to all of you, because it really is the next clear step. I was talking with the county yesterday, and they are going to be trying to find out when we can open up dining rooms and how we can do that. And obviously they're going to kind of see how the outdoor seating process goes first, and then evaluate going to the next level. This is kind of where it all begins. This is from the Center of Disease Control website, and this is specifically about restaurant and bar as far as the risk scale. And as you know, this is something that should all be very apparent to all of you, because this is what we're living right now. The lowest risk is where we have been, where food service is limited to drive-through, delivery, takeout, and curbside pickup. And a lot of you have been doing that successfully. And thank you for doing that. There are many people, including myself and my family, that have appreciated being able to continue to eat at our favorite restaurants and food service places. The next one, the more risk, is what we're going to now, where we're going to be adding the on-site dining limited to outdoor with the social distancing. So, the hope is that we can get to at some point, the even more risk. I don't know if we're going to, until there is actually a vaccine, get to the highest risk. And those are, that's one of the main reasons why we need to have conversations and discussions around the new way you're going to operate your business. So as you reopen, you all have reopening plans. I know that you guys have all gotten your checklists from the county and have filled them out. You've got your postings up, but there's going to be additional things that you need to do. There's going to be the things that are required by the county and the city and the state to be able to operate, but there's also going to be things that you're going to need to do for your operation that aren't going to be included in that. But the first part of it's going to be the compliance and how you handle your employees, your customers, your vendors, the space that you're going to be operating your business in. Currently outdoor, but you need to be thinking ahead to what you need to do for indoor seating. And then once again, being able to step up to cleaning, disinfecting, and sanitation. It's going to be very important that whatever plan you have before gets improved upon dramatically so that we can actually continue to move forward and not spread any more of the COVID disease. And that's where the ventilation comes in additionally. So the people that you should be getting your information from, I've listed a few of them here. And once again, the city of San Jose needs to be included in this. And you saw the link and the resources that they provide. And it sounds like all of you are currently on the mailing list, which is good. We have the Silicon Valley Small Business Development Center. We've got our page that we update. A lot of the updates we have are around the loans and other operational things that we're doing to help small businesses in the area. The CDC guidelines are where a lot of places are taking their cues. And so I include that because it's a good place to see where a lot of the information that is getting distilled from the state and the county and the city is coming from. So website links, I do believe that this is going to be sent out to the group. And so those links are available for you to utilize in addition to the ones that you currently have. As we move forward, it's important to have clear operational priorities, and it's going to need to start with a budget. And I put break even on there because that's where it's going to need to start. What your budget needs to reflect is what you need to do to survive this time. There's a good chance you're probably not going to have great profits and amazing sales during this time. So it's very important to understand what you need to do to stay in operation. And I put the cash flow in there because you can not be profitable and have cash flow, and understanding when your cash flow is going to run out really lets you know how soon or how much time you have in order to get those sales up in order to be able to stay in business. The next piece of it is the inventory ordering, and I put based on menu item sales because a lot of people say, well, I know what we need and we always get this, or there isn't a lot of systematic ordering. And being able to take the current trends from reports from your point of sale systems and actually basing your inventory and ordering gives you the ability to lower your costs because you're cutting it not too close, because once again, you want to build in a buffer, but you are going to be more accurate so you don't have a lot of inventory for items you're not selling in the building, and that's going to be key. Another big part of this is costing out your plates. A lot of people went through this exercise potentially at one point in time wherever they determined how much that plate of food costs, but so much time has gone by they don't know. And once again, now's the time that you need to know how much every plate of food is costing you in order to make sure that you're making some kind of a profit or making some kind of money to at least get to that break-even point from those plates. And if you're not, you need to make some hard decisions around that. But not knowing probably isn't going to work. Employees, we all know, are your most important assets, and their schedules need to be able to not only meet the needs of the business and the budget, but you also need to make sure that you are providing that job for your employees. And so having a strategy around the employee schedule is really going to be huge and a big operational priority as we go forward. I know that for a lot of people, getting employees back from unemployment or getting employees hired that have left permanently is still a big issue. And those are things that we can actually talk about as we go through this. And we'll get into that a little bit more here shortly. The last part of this is implementing a superior takeout and delivery plan. And this one, as you all know, is going to be huge. And so we're going to dive into that. The biggest thing that I see with takeout and delivery is that most restaurants have taken their regular menu that they serve inside the dining room, and that is their takeout and delivery menu. And that absolutely has to change at this point. You have to have a strategy, you have to have a plan, and you have to have a menu that's going to be able to generate the lost revenue, the revenue that you're losing from not being able to have people in the dining room. In order to do that, you're going to need to think a little bit differently about your menu and specifically have a fantastic plan for takeout and delivery, because it needs to make up not only the sales that you're losing from the dining room, but you also need to be able to build your clientele and keep your clientele so that when you are able to open up your dining room, that the customers will come in. A big factor in this is being able to offer online ordering for pickup in addition to the delivery. And one of the things I see with a lot of the delivery services, and some of you may have this, where every single delivery service seems to have their own tablet. And so you walk in and it looks like somebody, it looks like the staff is charging up all of their tablets because they're all over the place. And then you see the employees running around to each of the tablets trying to gather the orders and get everything into the kitchen. Having the need to get it integrated into your point of sale system so that you don't have these mistakes or issues is really going to be key. And I've seen a lot of people able to do this. I know there's one company called Otter that does a consolidation for a lot of the major services. And once again, I don't know much about them, but I'm looking for solutions just like everybody else. I've actually heard of a few of restaurant owners that they have been able to get it integrated into their point of sale system. And of course, what that does for your operation is it cuts down on the mistakes and really allows you to focus on getting the food prepared and getting the food out, as opposed to just gathering the orders and trying to get them into the kitchen. As we go into the takeout and delivery menu, as I said a few moments ago, it needs to be very well designed. Those plates need to be costed, and it needs to also be functional for catering. The days of putting a big platter of food out on a table is not going to be around for a long, long time. And so being able to create a functional menu that can still handle some catering for the offices as they come back to work themselves is going to be really crucial for your business also, and really going to help generate some revenue. One of the other things that we've seen is offering some special pricing. There are a lot of places that people go to dine in and enjoy the ambience and enjoy the restaurant and service, and they're willing to pay $25, $30, $35, $40 for a plate item. But if they're getting it to go and they don't, and it's going to have to sit in a box, travel to their house, either by them or through delivery, and they're still paying that $35, $40 a plate, you're probably going to struggle to get repeat or higher sales more often. People may do that once a month for your restaurant, but they're not going to do it once a week. And so really coming up with special offers. So if you have a New York steak that you charge $35 for or $40 for, doing 2 New York steaks for the price of what you currently have for one, so that a couple can afford to eat at your place a few times a week, has the ability to generate more in sales. Once again, you need to cost that out and make sure it's going to be profitable. And once again, make sure it's profitable for the delivery process. But it's really important to be thinking about those types of things that can generate extra and incremental sales by getting people to come back. The final part of this is getting feedback on the whole process. When people are sitting in your dining room and you are walking through your dining room, you get the feedback that says this food was not good. On your takeout and delivery, are you getting that same feedback? I've had a few really bad experiences as I've ordered takeout, and I haven't given them feedback, and I probably won't be going back. And as you guys all know, that's the kiss of death for most restaurants. You need to have a proactive ability to find out if there was a problem with the food and give yourself the opportunity to fix it just like you would inside the dining room. And that's going to go a long way to your future success in regards to this whole process also. So the next big operational issue is going to be your dining room, patio, and bar layouts. We've already been talking a little bit about the patio or outside seating, and all this is going to be governed by the social distancing. And then once again, how you're setting it up. This couldn't have been better time, because there are a lot of cities that are doing some kind of permitting or setting up guidelines for new outdoor seating, because it is going to be the next phase of what we're doing starting tomorrow. What I want people to be thinking about is if we get to that next level of being able to actually get people inside your dining rooms, you need to figure out how to get your dining room ready. And now's the time to be thinking about that, because if a month from now or 3 weeks from now, they're going to reopen up your dining room, is it ready to be able to follow social distancing guidelines and be able to accommodate customers to come in? And so thinking about it now is really an important time to do that. One of the things for a remodel, the SBA has loans for $25,000. It's not a part of the EIDL or PPP process that people can get fairly quickly to help with those interior remodels. And so now's the time to start thinking about it. Now's the time to start getting ready for it, so that whenever the shelter-in-place order gets to the next phase where they can come into your dining room, you'll be able to serve them. One of the things that I'm planning on doing, and I hope that all of you that are restaurant owners will join me, I'm trying to find a place to bring us all together. You know, we're all facing the same problems. We all need to get information pushed to us as opposed to us having to go out and find the information. And I'm using the Small Business Development Center platform to try to bring restaurants in Santa Clara County together to not only help solve the problems that we're facing, but to also get information out more quickly and to be able to bring the greater area together. There's about 7,200 restaurants in Santa Clara County, and we're all facing the same trouble. And if we can start coming up with some best practices, I think I've got here. So yeah, the goals for the meeting will be to receive the updates that you need for your business, to get answers from the different organizations in order to be able to operate, to be able to get clarification. What does that mean? How does it impact my business? You know, what is the level of importance in doing that? Is there a timing that it needs to be done by? Once again, sharing ideas and best practices, because we all are going to be solving the same problem, and it'd be much better to get a best practice from somebody who's already made a mistake and figured it out than for each of us to make that mistake and figure it out. The best part about this is I'm just asking for people to sign up. You can attend when you can. All the meetings will be recorded and available. But additionally, if you're signed in, we're going to be pushing information out to you. I've got a direct link to the county. So as the shelter-in-place orders for restaurants change, we will send those out immediately to you the minute we get them. We're also going to be plugged into the cities as well, so that the minute that they have things that are changing, we'll push that information to you as well. And I'm hoping that that's going to be a much better proactive way of you receiving this stuff than you having to run the bases every week. Because as you know, the situations are changing, if not daily, definitely weekly. And it's really important as a business owner, a small business owner, that you stay on top of it. But if you're just trying to stay on top of getting the business operating, it's going to be hard to do that. We're trying to create an environment and a space here where we can do it together. The final part of this is being able to discuss ways that we can solve problems that you and others face. You know, there may be a restaurant that's similar to yours somewhere else in the valley that's facing the exact same issues that you are. We can bring everybody together and get some of these things solved. So this is my last slide. This is me. This is the contact information. Once again, this will be going out as a PDF to all of you. So feel free to contact me. Feel free to sign up for the Zoom webinar, and more than happy to open it up for Q&A. I specifically touch lightly on all these because a big part of this process for me is hearing what you guys all need to know to be successful and what concerns you have that you're facing with the business. And so for me, I'm very excited to get to the Q&A and want to hear what we can do to help all of you to get back where you need to be. So with that, I'll go ahead and stop sharing now, and we can go ahead and move forward with the Q&A.
Thank you so very much, Kevin. As we transition into the question and answers segment, would like to encourage everyone to use the Q&A function located at the bottom of your screen to submit any questions, concerns, or inquiries related to this afternoon's presentation. I will be reading the questions that come through. The first question that I see is, are businesses required to provide restroom services for outdoor seating?
Now that's going to be a part of the county health, but you know, clearly if you are open for seating, you are going to need to provide restrooms. Now there's going to be, when we got to that disinfecting and cleaning process, there's going to be clear guidelines on that. And once again, we'll try to get that out to this group since it is a part of the Q&A. We will attach the information that you need. But you know, I can't imagine that you're going to have a customer that's going to sit on your patio for an hour and you're going to have to deny them access to your restrooms. Or somehow you're going to have some portables out there. I haven't seen anything on the portables. So my understanding at this point is that you're going to need to open up your restrooms for clientele. You're going to need to have that sanitation, disinfectant, cleaning program in place and monitored.
Wonderful, thank you. The next question, do plates, utensils, and cups for guests need to be disposable for patio dining room dining?
They can be. You know, the big key is that, you know, all restaurants have the ability to that have dishwashers typically. You know, if you don't have a facility dishwasher that is utilized that you utilize for your dining room for the function of cleaning, disinfecting your plates, then you would need to do, you know, throwaway. But it wouldn't hurt. It's something that you're going to need to decide, because as we all know, it's not for the customer maybe the best experience. So it's going to need to be kind of a feedback system for everybody. But you know, once again, if you've got the ability to have all those plates be handled in a manner and kept in a manner that is sanitary all the way through the chain of cooking the food and delivering the food, you don't necessarily need to do just disposable stuff.
Thank you. Next question, do restaurant employees need to wear gloves?
That's always a tough question. Because you have to be careful with gloves. Because once again, if you touch an infected surface with a glove, then everything that you're touching from then on is infected as well. But gloves do have a place. The biggest key for gloves is that you're changing them regularly and that you are additionally washing your hands. I mean, that's just standard practice now inside restaurants because we currently face a lot of foodborne and other issues inside of a restaurant. So the biggest key is going to be having the sanitation buckets with sanitation solution, having any rags or anything that you have in there, being able to keep reusable utensils in those sanitation buckets so that they continue to be sanitized. But so the biggest key is not whether or not you should be wearing gloves, it's how you're wearing gloves. And I would recommend it, especially for the food delivery. I think it's going to be the easiest, but once again, you're going to need to change those gloves quite often and have a lot of them on hand for them to be effective. Whenever you run the food out, the gloves need to then be tossed for the next gloves to be worn. So it's either a lot of hand washing or a lot of glove changing initially, or both.
Thank you. Will there be a limit of regulation for larger dine-in groups?
There's no guidance on that now. They haven't even really determined if they're going to allow the dine-in. As far as the patio or the exterior dining, right now the new order basically states that you can only go with a family member. So somebody that you've been sheltering in place with currently are the only people that you can actually go to a restaurant and do the outdoor seating with. So if you were hoping to meet a friend that you haven't seen in 3 months and go to do some outdoor seating, that's not where we are right now.
Thank you. Could you let us know about the guidelines for outdoor seating? What is that we should be aware of and things we need to avoid, etc.?
Well, so one of the things that we can do is send the guidance from the county to everyone, but just to really kind of paraphrase it, you know that we need to have the 6-foot social distancing. Whenever your customers come in, they need to have face coverings in addition to, of course, your staff as a part of the circumstances. So until they get to the table, the customers need to have the face coverings, the social distancing, and at the table, of course, since they're going to be eating the food, they can remove it. But once again, where they put it is going to need to be key. And then as they leave, the tables, just like they are now, are going to need to be cleaned and disinfected and prepared for the next group. If that's not enough, like I said, there's more in the county declaration and more specifics, and we can send that out. But I'm hoping that gives you the general idea of what the process is going to be.
How do you plan your space when your space is already small? For example, a 1,400 square foot coffee shop.
Yeah, no, that's Well, the best part about that is to try to work on extending that and then adding back from an outdoor or exterior seating. You know, the time has never been better to be considering that. You know, it's not going to work as we head back into a rainy time, but you know, once again, it should be functional for most of the year here where we live. Thank goodness. But yeah, you're really going to need to plan your space very smartly. I've been actually reaching out to a lot of different design companies to get ideas because it really is going to need to be a business by business solution. Yeah, every space is just a little bit different, and while you can give those 6-foot guidelines, we all know that how it's going to be implemented specifically to a location is going to need to really be owned by the owner. I think that you all probably have a better idea of what's going to work in your spaces based on what's going on. But to get some of that seating back, I think that the exterior dining is going to be the answer.
Thank you. Should we be designing our dining rooms for tables 6 feet apart? And will there be a limit number for seating customers at one time?
Once again, a lot of this stuff is in process and a part of conversations. So we're going to need to see what specifically comes out of these conversations as we get closer to it. There was early discussions that maybe 6 feet wasn't enough. But I'm thinking that at this point, they are going to go with the 6 feet distance. I was actually just studying table distances earlier this year as a side course because there were a lot of owners that were trying to think that 3 inches was enough space between tables. And I found out that about 28 inches is where customers are effective, but now we know it's at least 6. And so I think that's where we need to start with the table distancing. And I guess we'll go from there.
For restaurants that do not have any patio or outdoor seating, can they put tables on the sidewalk? If so, how many are allowed?
Well, once again, you know, that's what, you know, if Blage is still on the call, and I think she is, she would be in a better position to kind of talk about that process because every city is a little bit different. And it sounds like San Jose's really come up with a great plan.
Yes, I am on the call. So I was actually just typing the answer to that question. So that's exactly what we are for San Jose, assuming this gentleman, I think, that answered the question is a business in San Jose. So that's exactly what our the Alfresco program that I spoke about at the beginning of this webinar is intended to address. So there will be a very easy registration process, and we'll be sending out the links to the registration form very, very soon, within the next 24 to 48 hours. We're trying to get all the technical behind the scenes things figured out, but we can send that out through the attendee list on this webinar. You'll be able to register. We'll need you to upload your proof of insurance, naming the city as additional insured, and then you'll be receiving an auto reply email back that says you are conditionally approved to go ahead and put out tables and chairs, so long as you comply with all the county health regulations, and so long as you comply with some terms and conditions that we will be posting for the program.
Thank you, Blage. The next question, will food prep staff be required to wear hairnets or head caps?
Well, they currently have to have some kind of restraint, so that is not changing. So those type of regulations are not changing at all. You know, if you do have people in the kitchen, they should have their hair restrained, and hair should not be getting into food. So that's already a function of it. I think that a bigger question about that we're seeing with the kitchens is the fact that you can't social distance in a lot of the small kitchens that we all have a part of. I think that the strategy around that has become pretty clear. And one of the things that as an owner in the kitchen that you need to be thinking about are the busy times. And once again, I think we're going to have some time to work through these issues. And I think that, you know, for better or for worse, We're going to need to figure that out because when I was running restaurants, whenever I had a station that got overloaded, I threw additional people or myself onto those stations, and we got the food out. Doing that now, you need to be very careful in how you're handling that, because once again, if people are working side by side, they need to be very careful, especially when it comes to sharing utensils. And then once again, how the space is being cleaned. So I think those are issues that are more logistic for the kitchen, as far as, like I said, the sharing of the utensils, how utensils are getting cleaned and sanitized per use. And then once again, how you're handling the stations whenever people have to be in closer proximity.
Thank you. What are the requirements for outdoor seating for a restaurant that has an outdoor patio? Is the seating restricted only to the streets or parking lots?
Well, once again, that may be blasé. The one thing I want to add is that what people may not know is that the ABC is allowing for alcohol, because once again, a lot of places are, I know that, for example, in Main Street out in Cupertino, they have a plaza area that they're converting into outdoor seating for the restaurants that are in that area. And the concern was, can people bring the alcohol or be served alcohol in those spaces? And they absolutely can, but there is forms that you need to fill out for the ABC to be able to do that. So there are requirements like that. When it comes to the rest of the issue, I'll turn it over to Blage.
Yes. So again, I did answer. I was just trying to type the answer, and Sandra read the question. But basically, that is addressed in the initiative that I spoke about earlier. We're going to have all that information out. So your registration process will be for sidewalk seating and for private parking lot seating or business operations. If you do want to do anything in the street at this point, that would be a separate process, and a street closure would have to go through a more elaborate process through the city of San Jose.
Or even that parklet program, right? There's the parklet program that takes
and that might be coming forward, quite honestly, to council later on this month. We're just not there yet, and we're trying to kind of have things coincide with the county health order and kind of the new, how the county's rolling it out. There's another question in here that is, I think, the next one in terms of outdoor dining allowed for bars that serve food as well. And so, as Kevin mentioned, ABC has relaxed their restrictions on bars being able to, if they serve food or they pair up with another food service provider, and you can purchase your alcohol and your food at the bar, you're able to do that. And we will also allow bars to have that outdoor seating. So again, I don't know who this person is or where their business is, but if that's for the city of San Jose, if they're not in the city of San Jose, there might be other requirements.
The main caveat for that, and I'm glad that you tickled my brain on that one, is that, you just can't serve alcohol only. It has to be in conjunction with food. If a bar only serves alcohol and they're trying to utilize outdoor services, that is not available at this time. Just like dining with your friends is not, you can't sit outside and just consume alcohol, even if it is with somebody you're sheltering in place. So that is not a part of the county order at this time.
Thank you. The next two questions are related to social distancing. First question, is it a 6-foot table edge to table edge or person to person or chair to chair? The second question related to that, do food prep staff in the kitchen have to be in station 6 feet apart as well?
That was part of what I said earlier, so I'll start with the kitchen. The kitchen is going to be handled a little bit differently because it is virtually going to be impossible to maintain 6 feet, especially if you're walking up and down a food service line. Food service lines aren't even 6 feet wide, and typically they're shotgun up against the wall, and so there's only one way in and one way out. It's by everybody that you're working with. What's really important is to make sure that people are wearing the masks, and then once again, what your process is for sharing utensils, and what your process is for handling the equipment. And then once again, cooking on the station. So if typically you're, someone from another station cook something on the broiler that then goes on to their station and they come over, I wouldn't recommend you doing that. It needs to have the broiler person that would cook the thing on their broiler station and then bring it over and give it to the other station to be plated. So it's things like that that are more strategic, but it's going to be virtually impossible to keep the 6 feet. You want to do it wherever you can, and it needs to be a part of the functioning of whenever people are cooking or prepping that they are. But it's fully expected that people are going to need to pass by each other, and you just need to have a solid plan for and document it on how your employees are supposed to handle those circumstances. In the front of the house, I would say that it needs to be table to table, and I'd give it a little bit more than 6 feet because the tables do get moved around a little bit, and that's going to be something you're going to need to be following up on pretty closely. Right now, it is the 6 feet, and once again, that may change, and it's important that as we go forward that people stay up on this. The hope is that we can maintain the 6 feet, but as everybody knows, it's always the governing authorities always make rules to deal with the worst offenders, not the best offenders. And so we really just need everybody to be solid in living true to a solid 6 feet, and really managing and maintaining that. And I think that's going to be the place where we start. Thank you.
The next question, with what you are working on for sidewalks, what is San Pedro Street going to do for seating? Close to the street? What is currently in the works for the San Pedro area?
So I think I might have answered this question privately to that person, but so as I mentioned right now, for the overall program, we are not talking about street closures, but we are having a variety of different conversations with neighborhood business districts, and San Pedro Square is one of them, on what might work for that area and what a street closure might look like.
I think all of this is going to be evolving, and I think there's going to be a lot of discussions, especially since that this is going to really be the next and important phase. I think outdoor dining is really how that's managed and how that's set up. I think that the cities are eager to work within county guidance and to figure that out. But I think like everything else, it's going to be one of those evolving discussions that we're going to need to update people on week by week, if not day by day at some point.
Thank you. The next question is in regards to alcohol and the ABC. Can we serve the alcohol at the outdoor tables, or does the guest need to purchase and be delivered inside the restaurant?
It's going to need to be up to you operationally on how you do it, because either one will work. The biggest key is that you have to make sure that you have gone to the ABC website and filled out the paperwork and paid the fee. I think it's a $100 fee that you need to pay to submit the paperwork to be able to let them know that you're doing that on an ongoing basis. And once again, I'm more than happy for us to put the how-to guideline with the links out for this group. I'm more than happy to work with you guys to do that.
Kevin, I'm sorry, could I actually ask you, this is Lage, could I ask a point of clarification for that answer? So does a business that has permitted outdoor seating already, right? Their business operations before COVID was with outdoor seating, and their business operations before COVID involve food and alcohol service. Do they still have to get that temporary $100 license?
No, this is going to be just like what you're talking about for the new spaces. So if everything if they're just doing what they've currently done, this is for like what I said as far as like the Main Street where they're creating a plaza and going to be, there's going to be several restaurants utilizing that plaza. The ABC is going to need to be notified that there's going to be alcohol coming outside their building and heading into this special space, and then they're going to need to pay that. Thank you for asking that question. That's good clarification.
The next question, are we obligated to take temperatures for customers and employees before entering premises?
Not currently. There are restaurants that are doing temperatures on employees and have incorporated that as a part of their plan. And I don't necessarily think that that's a bad idea. Because the unfortunate part is our employees need money, and sometimes they are willing to make the wrong decision to go to work when they aren't well. And when do you want to catch that? So once again, I don't know that it's a requirement at this point, but it is one of those things that could absolutely be a best practice to have temperatures taken. Because if somebody does have a fever walking in the door, would you like to find out when they're clocking in, or would you like to find out after there's been some kind of an outbreak or concern? So, the employee piece of this is huge, and it's super important that everybody understands that, this is serious, and we need to go to the highest standard we possibly can to ensure the safety of the rest of our staffs and our customers, if not the community.
Thank you. Up to what time can restaurants open and close, especially now we have controlled times in major cities like San Jose and some parts of Santa Clara County in connection with protests?
Well, that's going to be clear as long as there is a citywide order for a curfew. It's going to need to be honored, and the hope is that we won't be in this for very long. But while it is, we're absolutely going to need to follow those guidelines until the situation improves. It is an unfortunate addition to the troubles that we already face. But once again, I think that the people that are protesting for the large part need to have their message heard, and we just need to let this process take its course. But as far as the curfews, it's going to be up to the cities to determine when they feel that it's going to be safe for your business to stay open later, and you're just going to need to follow those guidelines. Thank
you. How about testing? Are employees obligated to get tested periodically?
Yes, it's not. It is my understanding right now from the county. Once again, I don't know if the city has something different. At once a month, if you are in the restaurant business, everybody needs to be tested. There are testing locations that are available, and once again, more than happy to push all that information out to this group. If you sign up for the Zoom link, we'll be sending it out automatically to anybody that's on that mailing list on an ongoing basis as it comes out. But it is a requirement, from my understanding at this point, that once a month, food service employees need to be tested on an ongoing basis, and I believe that that's a part of the clock ticking starting tomorrow.
Thank you, Kevin. This particular question is in regards to ventilation. Could you briefly explain or talk about ventilation at this very moment?
Yeah, and that's a big part of the conversations. A lot of people, and a lot of you have probably set up the plastic barriers around different, customer contact areas, and so you've seen some of that. The biggest issue is that the COVID-19 virus is airborne, and how air flows through, the germs can be carried. And so that's why the outdoor seating is the first part of this, because being able to be outdoors, the disbursement is so much easier and so much greater, especially when we have the social distancing factor, that it is a higher risk, but it's the next level. As we get interior, it's super important that you understand the airflow in your building, and that there isn't, you shouldn't be able to drop a piece of paper at your front door and have it travel through to your hood system in the back. There needs to be what's called an air balance so that isn't happening. And I think as far as the ventilation, that's going to be the biggest issue, because what that can potentially cause is that gives any potential virus the ability to spread further than it normally would. And I think that those are the issues around the ventilation that we're facing right now. And I think that if you're looking into what's happening in your front of the house, you should check that, because a lot of times, because of the powerful hood systems that a lot of restaurants have, there's an imbalance in the air, and it forces the ventilation to be improper for what we're facing right now. And once again, it's a general answer, but I hope that's specific enough to let you know what the problem is that we're trying to solve, how we're going to solve it, and to what degree it needs to be solved. We're still waiting on some guidance.
Thank you. What if a restaurant has operable windows? For example, accordion windows.
Open them. Once you allow people in the dining room. I don't know if that will, once again, you need to look to the city and the county if that will qualify. You know, I ran the TGI Fridays out in Cupertino, and we had one whole side of the building that did. It opened up, and we could open it up to the patio and have the whole thing be wonderfully ventilated. And I think those type of restaurants are pretty amazing, and I've seen a few of them in and around town. But once again, I don't know if they will qualify for outdoor seating or at what level. It really is going to be asking the city and the county, because I don't think you're going to be able to go deep into your restaurant, but you may be able to go at least a section inside if it does open up. And that is a possibility. But once again, make sure that you've run that by people to get that approval, and that people know what you're doing with that.
So second part of that question also includes, could they serve on the first row of indoor seating that is next to the operable window? That's
what I was saying. So you
okay.
want to clear that with the county and the city to make sure that that qualifies as to what you're talking is, you know, at what level that might qualify as outdoor seating, because it may. And I think there's a good case to be made. But once again, you want to make sure that that people know what you're doing, and that you are following guidelines. There's going to be a lot of this that's open for clarification. And once again, if that question is answered on the forum that we're creating, we'll get the county person to get that answer. And once again, you saw my contact information. If that individual, or if there's a series of individuals that want that specific information, more than happy for us to do the legwork. A large part of what we need to do right now is be able to push these answers to you, so that, you know, the valuable time that you guys spend on these webinars can be reduced. The time that you're spending operating your business and actually, you know, solving these problems to get that revenue back is what we're looking for. So I appreciate a lot of questions like that, and we'll definitely track down those answers once again from this Q&A, and as they send the information out, we'll see if we can include that as well.
Great, thank you. An additional question, for bars that don't have a kitchen and offer food, could they sell a bag of peanuts? Would that be considered food?
Now, to serve food, you need to be permitted by the county health department and have a legal operating business so you need to be health permitted, you need to be city permitted, and all that needs to be a part of it. So if what you currently did before the outbreak was bar only, and you're not health licensed, you don't serve food, you haven't been inspected, you haven't been licensed to do that, yeah, you can't do it. It's just one of those cases that you may be able to over the next month, but you can't now. If you want to serve food, then go through the licensing procedure. County health department's open to do that, but I don't think a bag of peanuts is actually going to qualify as food service.
Are tablecloths and cloth napkins allowed?
I would stay away from tablecloths and cloth napkins at this point. You know, once again, it's if your tables require it and you change it all out. But once again, your staff is going to probably need to be, at that point, I would say that your staff needs to be wearing gloves to change those out. Whoever's changing the linen off of the table out needs to be very careful, and needs to be, you know, gloved and handled. You know, once you almost need to treat each one of those tablecloths and napkins as if it is infected with the virus. And so it's something more disposable for the short run. So, you know, a lot of places that have gone to where you can put put paper out on a table and paper napkins and then clear it out. That that probably is a better way to go in the short run. That's not to say that you can't, you just need to make sure you've got a great plan in order to stay safe.
Great, thank you, Kevin. The next question is in regards to the curfew and possibly most applicable to Block A. I thought the curfew in San Jose ended this morning. Isn't that the case?
Yes, the curfew did expire this morning.
Thank you.
But I do want to just mention something that as far as time goes, in this program that we are proposing at this point, where the registration for additional for sidewalk seating for folks that didn't already have it, and also seating and business operations in the private lots, the hours would be limited because it is citywide. The hours will be limited from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m.
And that's because they don't have a conditional use permit. Is that correct, Blage? That's what you're discussing?
It is because it's citywide, and so in San Jose specifically, you have a variety of different neighborhoods and different kind of situations. And then second of all, yes, because in essence, we are allowing folks to do this without any kind of community process or any kind of conditional or special use permit. 10 o'clock is going to be the cutoff for now.
And those are for the new spaces, correct? Because once again, if you go back to what you brought up with me, if it's a part of the current restaurant patio, and they do have a conditional use permit for extended hours and have gone through that public process, they are okay to stay open later?
So in the city of San Jose, they will not be. They'll have to abide by the 10 p.m. Time. Because in essence, what we're technically doing in the city of San Jose is we're suspending by an emergency order the program that was previously in place, and we are replacing it for a temporary period of time with this new order and the parameters of this new order. So in some cases, people actually will be able to do more than they might have been able to do with their existing permit. But the time is fixed.
Thank you, Blage. What kind of...
And I'm just going to say, I'm sorry, but I do have to leave, but happy to address any questions that are for me through Sandra and the team that is working to record these questions. Thanks, everyone.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Blage. Additional questions, and the next question relates to leniency on party sizes, and what is the leniency for parties of 7 to 8 people for the same household?
Well, once again, you're going to need to maintain that social distancing. I guess the tough part is, I would initially stay away from accepting parties of that size, and I would be taking reservations for that premium space right now, because you're going to get into moving tables. And I think that for the initial timing, until we get down the road a bit, I would, as much as I hate saying no to money, that's why I'm struggling with this one, because if you got a party of 7 coming in and they're all from the same family and they've been pent up, I would love to feed them and have them in my dining area. I think that though, from a smart perspective, that moving the tables and then expecting them to get back to 6 feet, that you're asking for trouble at this point. If you feel that you can do it, be careful. But I think that the more, just like that you see the X's in the grocery stores, I think that having those on the ground of where the tables go and that they need to stay there is the smartest way to get this thing started. And I think that if you've got a larger table that can seat 6, then I would probably leave it at that. But once again, it's going to all come down to a lot of common sense. I don't know that there's going to be any restaurant that wants to be the one that sends us back where we were.
Thank you, Jeff. Are restaurants allowed to serve bread and side dishes?
Yeah, I think what you're talking about here are common plates, like even appetizers, right? It's kind of the same scenario where um, most of what's happening now is individual servings. I'm not under the impression at this point that there's anything wrong with serving an appetizer or a bread or anything that you serve as a common plate at this time, because once again, it's going to be members of the same household. I think that's one of the reasons for that, in addition to just the social distancing factor as we're going forward with this. But I would say that at this point, I am not aware of any problem with serving common plates of bread and appetizers this time.
Are we required to have hand sanitizer available at every table?
I wouldn't have it at every table, but I definitely have it in a few locations in the dining area that you have. Having it on hand. It's impossible to get the gel type, but there are several of the foam substitutes that are widely available, and there's lots of pumps and abilities to put those around. So I think having them in the area, but I don't think that you necessarily have it by table. If you did, you're exceeding the standard, and bless you for that. But I think that you do need to have a few in the area, because once again, it doesn't take the place of hand wash, but it is an improvement over nothing.
Thank you. Will restaurants that did not previously have outdoor seating need any type of permit to begin serving people outside?
I think we've covered that. That must have come in late because, once again, that's the whole conversation around what Blage said, is that they are expediting that process and creating clear guidelines with a few caveats of getting permission from property owners and stuff. So I think that looking at what comes out from her group in regards to that is going to be the key. I don't know that it's, if it's going to be an official permit, but I do know that they are creating that whole process for allowing that to move forward.
Wonderful. So that concludes our Q&A session. Thank you so very much for your time, Kevin, and Blage for providing answers to the questions, concerns, and inquiries related to this afternoon's presentation.
Can I just say one little thing as we wrap up? I really am very thankful for everybody that is on the webinar today. Appreciate your time, appreciate your courage, and anything that we all can do to help you. In the upper left-hand corner right now, it says resources, and that's what this is all about. You need to have a good inventory of your resources, of the groups and the people that can get you information quickly, that can push information to you, and to help get you the answers like the ones that, the questions you asked today. Whatever any of us can do, make sure that you have those people on your team as a resource, so that as you're going through this, you can get answers to questions quickly, you can get reliable information that you can act on, and that you can make decisions that are going to help you to continue to move your business forward during this difficult time. And I wish the best to all of you.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much once again, Kevin, for taking your time this afternoon to help educate our small businesses.
Happy to. It's good work if you can get it.
Thank you. And moving forward, on this particular slide, we have a list of resources. If you are interested in viewing past webinars, today's and future sessions, we'd like to invite you to visit this short bit.ly hyperlink. If you have any questions or concerns or would like to participate in upcoming webinars, please contact Mirza Hanzar at mirza.hanzar@sanjoseca.gov to share your topic ideas. Resources for businesses laying off or downsizing. Please contact Workers Adjustment and Retraining Notification, also known as WARN, Business Service Team at work2future@sanjose.gov. Once again, work2future@sanjose, All employers, businesses, nonprofits, and workers impacted by COVID-19 can write us at COVID-19sjbusiness@sanjoseca.gov. Once again, COVID-19sjbusiness@sanjoseca.gov, or call 1-877-880-1222. Translation services are available in Spanish and Vietnamese. Our next upcoming webinar is scheduled for Wednesday, June 10th, 2020. Once again, Wednesday, June 10th, beginning at 3:00 p.m. Our speaker and agency is Start Small, Think Big and Kozen O'Connor. Topic will focus on Employer and Employee HR Toolkit in response to COVID-19. The COVID-19 HR Toolkit can help businesses overcome obstacles and provide more information about workplace policies, exposure in the workplace, screening, testing, and more. To register, please check your email or go to Zoom webinar or email Mirza Hansar at mirza.hansar@sanjoseca.gov. Once again, mirza.hansar@sanjoseca.gov to sign up today. After this afternoon, once we conclude, you will be provided with a link to a survey. Please tell us what you think. Once again, please visit your email for a hyperlink to complete an online survey. We appreciate your input. Once again, thank you so very much for joining the City of San Jose's webinar series for COVID-19 small business support. For future webinar topics and related resources, please visit sjeconomy.com. Once again, sjeconomy.com. Thank you and have a great day.